play the game.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's John and my special guest, Scott Bearded Picker. And we're going to roll with this for a couple hours without Jenna. She's with her family, with her distractions.
We'll pour one out for Jenna.
You know, you shouldn't drink apple juice like that. But nonetheless, wanted to talk to you guys about making reselling work for the long haul. And you know, Scott turned me onto a book that I was
and it's a book, not anything else, just a book.
Yeah, the E-Myth Revisited. And one of the things that he said in this book caught my attention. That was 40% of small businesses will fail within the first year. And 80% of those that succeed in the first year will fail within the first 5 years. 85% of those businesses that succeed for 5 years will fail by the 10th year. That's not a very big number left, guys. And
can I do the math?
What is the math?
1,000 people. Okay, 100 people start. You lose 40, so you're down to 60. By 5 years, you lose all but 20, and then in the next 5 years, you lose 85% of those, so you're down to like 3 or 4. That's the math of a 100 small business for every 100 people that start.
And to make the point, you know, I've been wondering, you know, where are some of these viewers, you know, part of the FAE fam that's been watching these lives for the longest time? You got Prosser, you got Picky Ricky, you got, I mean, there's just so many names. I guess I could go back and look, but it kind of make me sad, to be honest with you, if I did. What happened to them? Did they just stop, you know, watching YouTube videos all of a sudden? Probably not. They probably had to go and do something different. And maybe that different involved, you know, hanging it up and doing a 9 to 5. Now, the whole point of this topic isn't to dissuade you from wanting to be a reseller, to maybe even do this as your full-time income. It's possible. If I can do it, you know, Beard can do it. Anyone can do it. So, you know, you just got to want it bad enough. I think that is the factor here. And you have to want it enough so bad that you're willing to step outside of that comfort zone we talk about to get it done. And I think sometimes that need to step outside the comfort zone is too much for some people. They would rather sell whatever they like to sell, which isn't selling for some people, than to just make that pivot to something they're not comfortable doing. And they instead just keep doing what they're doing, and what they're doing isn't working. Maybe they'll hold out saying, hey, something's got to change, and it never does. And unfortunately, these people drop out. And so you got to make a decision. Are you in this for the long haul? And if you are, what are the things that you need to do to make it work? And the answer for you is going to be different than the answer for me. You know, I think that right now I'm doing great. Almost 14,000 the last 31 days in sales. You know, my last 90 days is around almost $35,000. And this is gross. I mean, 48% profit. You do the math on that. It is probably my best month that I've had in the last year and a half. Even better than last year. I'm up 12% as compared to last year. Is that going to be something that's going to last forever? Probably not. There might be a lot of changes that happen to me that's out of my control along you know, the next year or two. And I'm going to have to figure out how to navigate those changes, because all it takes is one supplier to say, hey, we're not in business anymore, or we're not offering the same type of merchandise, and I'm scrambling. And that's the reality of it. And it could take a $14,000 month and turn it into a $5,000 month that quickly. And that's going from making it work, thriving, to a disaster. So, you know, and the same thing can hold true for you know, Scott. He does retail arbitrage. I know that Amazon kind of toyed with him about 3 weeks to a month ago. They pretty much gated him for a lot of the things that he was selling. And I don't know what the update is on that, but that's the reality. Amazon can step in any day now and do the same thing, and this time make it permanent. And now he can't sell but a quarter of the things he's used to selling, which would drastically, change his outlook on reselling.
It just changed location. So the 15 to 20% goal for eBay, now my eBay's pushed up to a third. I just list it somewhere else. I buy the same things. I just list it somewhere else. You got to have an out plan. If you put everything in one, you're asking for trouble. So last 31 days, I am at 7,500, and this is much bigger. I'm up for the year. I'm up 132% on eBay, and there's a reason. I've been selling the same things on Amazon and on eBay, and the same type of product. So I've switched to product mix and selling multiples, which is very nice. That is one. Find your rhythm, find what works for you. But just because I can't sell it on Amazon, I still buy the multiples. That sells a little slower at eBay, but it still sells on eBay for similar money, maybe a little less. But you just shift gears and keep going.
Yeah, someone like, let's say, I'll give another example. Someone like Jay Ride. Been talking to him to try to get him on the show here. We're working it out. He might come on here the next few weeks, but he lost his top-rated seller status, and is selling on eBay with just your above standard rating, and that in itself is an impact to a lot of people. But I think the fact that he has high sell-through, high demand things has kind of allowed him to continue to make the sales, probably not on the same level that he's used to, but of course that now requires him to pivot. And I'd like to get him on the show to talk about that, because that is a big change in your business. And so my question to each and every one of you guys out there that are watching is, what do you do if, and I'd say when, but for many it's when, because things happen. When something happens in your business that makes you have to change course, do you continue on the course, or do you recognize that you have to change course and to do that? And it kind of goes into the E-Myth book, talking about the 3 different personalities that we generally have. You got the worker, you have the entrepreneur, and you have the manager. And so I'm reading the book there, Beard. And
I told you, man, that's why I specifically called you.
But you have the entrepreneur side of you that can see that and make the adjustments in your plan as things go not quite as you thought that they would.
Yeah, so I was like, I specifically, when I started reading, I'm like, man, this is a message that a lot of us need to hear. And I know you've been behind on books. I'm like, skip everything you're doing, read this one, because it is, this is one. Whenever you look at lists of small business books, this one's on every list, and it's outstanding so far. I'm probably the 4th chapter now, and just learning a lot about why I have some of the ideas I've had, and I've actually been okay. So it's good. So John will tell you, it's good to have ideas when you're on YouTube and you can help people but to always listen to yourself, sometimes you don't hear yourself. And I'm the worst about, I'll do something. I'm like, why am I not listening to my own self? I know to do this, but hearing it from someone else reinforces things that you already know.
Right. And I think each and every one of us have to kind of develop those 3 sides of the business. The worker, you got to want to get in there and do the work. The idea that I hate listing, you got to get past that, guys. The listing is the lifeblood of continually keeping your store afloat. You can't allow the listings to just kind of go by the wayside and allow a death pile to build up. You got to get those items up or they won't sell. We all know that. So that's the worker side. You have to get that down. Then the manager side, you gotta manage your day. You have to have, a plan of action that you do every day. And it's part of your SOP, standard operating procedure. Get that in place. And then, of course, the entrepreneur side is what I need to develop better. That is, have a vision for the future. Where are you trying to go with this? I mean, is this kind of the place you're going to be in 2 years? And for some, that is, it's fine. But you have to have a plan. What is the goal? And what steps are you going to take to get there, and get out of the worker/manager shell and adopt a mindset of an entrepreneur? You know, all of us like to say we're entrepreneurs because we have our own business, but are you really an entrepreneur? Do you have that mindset that will allow you to say, this is where I want to be in 5 years, and this is how I'm going to get there?
And so most of us start off as putting in the work. You know, you're doing it part time. You're good at reselling. You're like, you know what? I want to make a business out of this. I want to give this a go full time. I think I can. And it's the manager and entrepreneur to get pushed to the side because you get in there, get so busy working that you don't. The planning does. So the manager does the planning, does the, you know, putting organization, the planning are the things that help keep the worker going correctly. And then especially the entrepreneur vision, the visionary it really gets pushed down. So you don't, because you're too busy working, and what little planning you do, you don't see the big picture. And so it's important to develop all three personalities, and they all work together instead of against each other. Because if one overshadows the other, you go spiraling off in any direction. It needs to be a great combination of the three, so that you are working hard, working smart, and working with a vision and a purpose. It's this book is great, folks. We're gonna 2 weeks from Monday, we'll go over it on one of my Monday night lives. I'll tell you what else I've learned, and anybody's welcome to come talk about it. But it's a good one so far.
Well, I can just tell you, just upon self-reflection, when I ran my own department, I ran the group department at Amtrak for a good 4 years, and I was too much of a worker. You know, I of course my job was to manage the department, and I did do that. But there's times where I took it upon myself to take on tasks that I should have delegated, and I could have done that better. And I think it was more about control, that feeling of, if I know I can do it just fine, and it's letting go of the trust, right? That I could trust this person to do the job just as well. And it's letting go of that. And I think that's what a lot of people have a problem with when it comes to, let's say, bringing on help, right? And can they do it as well as me? Now, initially, no, but if you take the time, they probably can do it. But that's the hardest part that I think I've had in my lifetime, is letting go and instead of just doing it myself, because I know that I can get it done the way I need to get it done. But nonetheless, I just wanted to kick the conversation off with that topic and to see what you guys think. And this is a real serious conversation because I don't want to lose people. I like the people we have that frequent our live streams, and it is very sad to me that I can go back a year from now and see faces that were here every week, every Monday and Friday, that are no longer here with us. And I almost was like, did I say something wrong? But you know what? In hindsight, I don't think I did anything. I think it's just that if you're no longer reselling, you're not going to be consumed with reselling content. Right. And these people are going to move on, and we're going to see new faces. And I'd hate to see any more people drop off. And if we can all help each other collectively make reselling work, then I feel like we've succeeded. So I want to real quick say hi to some folks that dropped in here. We got Charles McBride says, how's the lonely guy? You know what? I learned to keep myself busy when, like, Jenna goes and hangs out with her distractions. I'm in her family. And for me, it just gives me more time, I guess, to really get the stuff done. I have to do her job now and take over her tasks, which involve shipping. So that takes, there's some days that she's doing shipping for a good solid hour or two, like on Sunday nights, Monday mornings. That's now going to be in my lap and take more time out of my day. So I've got to really manage my time better because of that. So, I'm making good sales 4 to 5, 6 items a day out of my store. It doesn't seem like a lot, but if you consider these are larger items, they have liquidation. Anyone's dealt with liquidation, the boxes a lot of times are beat to hell, and you really have to get in there and repack these items to where they're presentable when they or make a trip across the country. So that's kind of how I'm handling her not being here. Jovial says that she thinks I've been playing golf, which no, I haven't. I hung out here and we did the podcast for the Profit Playbook podcast that's launching tomorrow. And a very similar type of conversation, I think, but we have Josh involved, and it's hopefully not a negative tone to it. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that podcast is pretty good this week?
Yeah, it just talking about this book and the negativity of losing people, but we tried to end it on ideas of what you can do. Thank you. My dinner's been delivered. What you can do to correct some of these issues. I've had the same thoughts you had, John, when I was a manager. I could have been a better delegator, to be more effective. And when I was a district manager, you had to be good at it because you couldn't do it anymore. But that's just part of the manager person not being in your business, and so you're not developing procedures, you're not developing processes, and so because you're doing it yourself and you know how to do it, so you just do it.
Yeah.
And in order to get someone to help you, you've got to be able to explain it and something to show them, hey, this is exactly how we do it.
Exactly. We have Mike Camparelli says, hey, FA family, how has everyone been? Doing well myself. Very busy lately. Sales have been consistently good. Had a $1,700 day. 7 items sold, 25-yard sales plan for tomorrow. So $1,700 day is outstanding. Those are very few and far between for only 7 items. So that tells me you're just kicking some butt on the ASP side of it. So keep going, Mike. That's awesome. That's really encouraging stuff. And a lot of these things, Mike is finding these things, I believe, at yard sales. It's just being open to finding things that sell. I know Mike, and he's looking for things. I don't think he really cares what it is, as long as it's legal and it has some sell value. He's buying it. Jerry Johnson says, hello, FA family. Thanks for being here, Jerry. And thank you for being a member, by the way, and Mike Camparelli. We put a video out. I put a video out yesterday for the channel for the members, the first one. And I know we have like 11 members. And to me, I mean, whether we have 11, 1, or 1,000 members, I'm still going to do those videos. And we only had 4 views on it. So there's like 6 of you that are members that didn't watch the video. And it kind of goes into there's some things personal related to the reselling business that I allow myself to kind of get up close with, more so when I know, like my inner circle of friends, for instance, that I'll have conversations with that I'll never discuss on the lives or the videos, mainly because there's people with bad intentions that are watching these videos, and or if I give out information about how I source, where I source, then that kind of kills that. So not to say that's what I'm disclosing, but it's very close to that. I'm really getting into the details of what I do. And I think if I shared that with the masses, it wouldn't be a huge demand for that. I think a lot of people want to see the things that they can learn that can affect their business, and not necessarily what is John up to. So if you're a member and you haven't checked that out, go check that out when you get a chance. Flip It Goods with us is happy Friday. Thanks for being here today. Nice to see you. We got Biff Boffo says, hello, everyone. Biff had really, we had a live yesterday that turned out to be kind of shaky to start, but then we kind of got into a flow, got a good conversation going. And I really think we tackled some good topics. So go check that out too if you haven't done so. Callie Evans says, hey John, and everyone, sales have kind of picked up a bit, I guess, due to the changes that I've been implementing. Hope everyone else is getting some sales too. Sales are strong for me. I know, Beard, you've been dealing with some fairly decent sales on eBay.
Until today. Today has been awful. I need to hit the like button. I've had strong sales on both platforms until today. Everything's dead today for some reason.
Yeah, hit that like button. You know, I don't know how it works, but we put it out there. You're going to get a sale within the next 24 hours, just the way it works. So it doesn't take you more than a second or two to hit that like button, unless you're watching it on TV, and then you're going to have to bring your phone out to do it. So I'd appreciate that. Biff says, I have a question for people who use promoted listings. When you go to marketing, advertising, is the purple line or aqua line higher for your impressions? Okay, so we go to, let me get there here. Marketing and advertising. Let me go to mine, at least. So for me, the aqua line is consistently higher than the purple line. And the aqua line is your promoted listing impressions, and your purple line is your organic impressions. And I'm talking, if I'm averaging, I'm looking at my graph, if I'm averaging about 15,000 organic impressions a day, I'm somewhere around, I'd say 50,000 to 55,000 promoted listings impressions a day. So essentially, for the fact that I'm promoting, and I don't know if it has a lot to do with the rate that I'm using, I'm usually around 8 to 10%, but I am, and I don't put a lot of stock into these impression numbers, by the way, but based on this scale, I am, for every organic impression, I have 3 to 4 promoted listing impressions. So every time you get an impression, that basically means it's clickable on someone's screen. Doesn't mean that they see it, doesn't mean that they know it's there, but it's on their screen somewhere. But that's an opportunity. Every time you have an impression, it's an opportunity for someone to, even by accident, click on your listing. Whereas if that's not on their screen, it doesn't matter. You're not going to get seen. So hopefully that answers your question. And I don't know, are you looking yours up? Did you see where you're at?
Yeah, mine's the same. It's anywhere from 4 to 5. Mine's a little higher than yours.
Okay. Paul Rose says, hi, John and FAA chat. How's bachelor life? You know what? It's almost too quiet. If that makes sense. Now, it's not like Jen and I are constantly like having conversations and stuff. She kind of does her thing. I do mine, but it's quiet. And I think she had mentioned something like that when I was gone, that it does get kind of quiet. Joe Samard says, hi, John and Jenna. I'm not sure if Jenna knows what time we're on, so I don't know if she's going to be here or not. Paul says, the eBay fund continues. Had a buyer in the States who couldn't pay today, called it in. Customer service were supposed to call him and me back if needed. Neither happened, had to end and sell similar. So I'm curious, though, when you say had to call it in. So if you have an unpaid item, I'm not sure calling anyone's going to do anything. And I'm surprised that the rep even entertained that. You're going to get, sometimes you're going to get sales that just, you have to wait the 4 days. Could be the card is a problem. Could be the billing address is the problem. And you may not get the sale, unfortunately. And then I guess he was able to pay after you did that. So that's interesting. We have Spam Banshee, and I'm sure Primo's with you. So how you guys doing? Thanks for being here. Henri Squaw says, howdy, FAE crew. Thanks for being here. Maya, I haven't seen Maya in a while, says hello. And we have Freya, says hi, everyone. And your buddy Larry Todd, or as you know him as Todd, says, geez, Jenna, work on that hair. You got to
upside down today.
Can't be shaving your hair like that, Jenna. Paul Rose says, hey, Scott, hope all's well. Keena says, hi, everybody. And the Crazy Card says, fear the man that squishes his juice box after he drinks it in one shot.
And that's Mike. His name is Mike, by the way.
Is that Mike? Okay.
That's the best picker I know. That man has amazing skills. The best one I know. The stuff he shows on Instagram is amazing.
Okay. Does he go by the Crazy Card on Instagram as well?
Yeah.
I'll have to check him out. T's Flip says, evening all. Thanks for being here, T. Spam Banshee says, what was that?
That's Tracy. He's from here.
Tracy? Okay. From Huntsville?
Yeah, he eats with us every Tuesday night. We run into Tracy all the time.
Yeah, I do the wing night with you guys. That would be fun. Spam Banshee says, hi, bearded picker. Noah Design says, Jenna, you put the hair on the wrong end, just saying. Semper Fi in the house scored another great sale today. There you go. Love to hear good news. That's always good to hear. And then, of course, you said, did you get out today, Tracy? Biff Boffo, if you stop reselling, you likely stop watching reselling content. Yep. And so at first I'm like, where are these guys going? Not really understanding that, chances are they just threw in the towel, and, you don't make a big announcement about it. You just go about your life. And sometimes you try to make a comeback, and then you see, I think I saw Prosser, Keith, from maybe about 3 weeks ago. And I didn't know if he was back at all, or maybe he was just checking in, but it was nice to see him. We got Ping G. Hello, John and Scott in the chat. Thanks for being here, Ping. We have Christina. Happy Friday. I have a cancellation request on Poshmark. The buyer asked me to cancel the order, but there's no option for this. Thank you. You may have to reach out to somebody at Poshmark. I'm surprised there's no option for that. There has to be something in case you can't find the item. Kina says, I've decided I only have trash clothes. If you have clothes that really aren't all that desirable, maybe you can bundle them up into like sizes, men's large, women's smalls, and sell them in like 4 or 5 at a time at a set price. At least trying to recoup what you're into them for, and just don't buy those again. Maya says that you get burnt out talking about the eBay algorithm constantly, or you get burnt out talking about the algorithm constantly. And it is an old subject. I try not to talk about the algorithm all that much, but if I'm being honest with you, everything I do on eBay, in the back of my mind, I am always trying to play to the algorithm. And I mean, I guess the same holds true to YouTube as well. I mean, that's why you see some of these crazy titles, crazy thumbnails that people put out. I'm no exception to that. It's because we want people to watch our videos, right? And we want people to see our items, and we want people to buy them. I mean, don't you do that? You put out thumbnails for, otherwise we just put a few words in a thumbnail that represents what we're talking about. And we just, you know what I'm saying?
I used to when I made videos.
You generally don't anymore. You just do lives now, right?
So I did wear the camera today. Battery died in the middle of one of them, but I'll have it on tomorrow. I'm gonna start making yard sale videos again. So,
see, I want to do that, but I think that the most of the viewers that watch this channel, I think they really don't want to see, that watch my channel, don't want to see that, which is why I'm going to start, when I finally get back out to do that. It's going to be something that's going to be like a members thing, because if you want to see it, then there it is. But I don't want to create a channel just for that. I know some people do really well making yard sale videos, but I don't think what people know me for. Simplifies is up and over last month's sales. Still a few days left till my monthly payday. Hit the like button for your free sale. I agree. Hit that like button, guys. Mike Gertis says spending on the business and taxes is what kills most. So my daughter, I hate to use her as an example, but she was selling on both eBay and Poshmark, and she still sells on Poshmark. And her and Jenna decided, let's go in and halves on a pallet of Macy's shelf pulls, which are new with tags clothing, talking like $70, $80, $90, $100 pieces that were, I think our cost was like $5 or $6 a garment. And that's pretty good for, Macy's brands. And so we divvied everything up as even as possible. We sold a good percentage of those clothing items, but we also did sell a lot of them in bulk. But my daughter, she was making sales. She was making constant sales, but what she wasn't doing is she wasn't reinvesting that money back into the business. And she was paying the bills, this, that, and the other thing. And by the time she was getting close to running out, it was like, I don't have the money to buy more stuff. So that's kind of what killed her business. So you got to be constantly reinvesting your money into more product. I mean, I do it I'm buying every day, but realistically, I'm spending every week I'm buying carloads of stuff every week between where I go here locally or yard sales. And you gotta just know that you might have money in the bank, but some of that has to go back in to your business. Otherwise, your business is, because if you're not replenishing the stuff that's sold, your business is going to die.
Well, if you don't replenish too, just think about it. If your best stuff is selling, eventually if you don't replenish your best stuff and even your medium stuff, you have a store with all your low end stuff, and then you sit back and go, wonder why this isn't selling. I wonder what has happened to my sales. Must have somebody at the door.
Yeah, hold that thought. I'm going to be right back.
I'll keep talking. So you end up with a store that's, maybe doesn't have your best stuff, and so your sales rate is going to go down. So you've got to constantly keep adding new merchandise, and if you have things that you replenish over and over, you've got to keep those numbers up so that you can maintain. Because if you're not consistently adding back to your store, you're falling behind, whether you can feel that or not. And so it's really important. I source every Friday and Saturday yard sales, and then like yesterday I was out all day, but I try to do a couple days during the week, and then I take a day and a half off, and then try to ship Monday, Wednesday, Friday, at least Monday, Wednesday, and I can get Johnny or Jacob to do Fridays if I need. But it's just got to. It's important. I don't know where he was reading, so but yeah, the E-Myth revisited. So I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, E-Myth, what is the E-Myth? And so the E-Myth, the actual premise of the book, the E-Myth, is that every small business is started by an entrepreneur type. It's an entrepreneur that starts every small business, and that's the E-Myth. And it's not every small. Most businesses are started by the worker type person, not the entrepreneur person.
That was kind of crazy.
That's the myth.
Yes,
I didn't know what it meant until I read it.
My mail carrier, he kind of knocked on the screen door, and I heard it, and I'm like, why didn't my doorbell go off? And as I ran outside, he was starting his truck to leave. So I'm glad I caught him. I didn't want to have to mess with having to get to the post office after the live. So all's good with that. So where do we leave off?
I don't have a clue.
What were you saying? You were talking about the book?
I was just talking about the need to replenish, continue your thought where you got to replenish your good stuff, because if not, your quality goes down and then your sales will follow with it. And, the other thought too is if you want to sell $1,000 a week, you've got to have $1,000 of merchandise there. And so as you slowly tail off, if you don't have that valuation of whatever your goal is, you've got to have a percentage of inventory there that's available in order to reach a sales goal. So if you want to sell $1 million, you've got to have minimum of $1 million worth of product, sales product available. Just think about that.
Yeah. Reselling is a math game. You can't expect $500 days if you're not listing $500 in value. And that's why, again, I think we've been misled by a lot of folks over the years talking about, all you got to do is list 100 items a day, you'll be fine. And then so people put up $5 items, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But if you're listing 100 items a day, you're only putting $500 in your store. And if you're expecting to make $750 to $1,000 in sales, it's just the math's not there. It's not going to happen, guys. So always focus more on not the number of items you're putting in your store, but the value you're putting in there. And even the listing quality report speaks to the GMV that you have. They rank you based on GMV, which is your gross merchandise value, I believe. That it's the value of the items that you're putting in. And so you can see in your store, you can also see on your active listings, the total of all the items that you have in your store. That's there for a reason. I really am a firm believer. The more and more I look, the information that eBay provides you is there so that you have an understanding of what's happening in your store. If it wasn't important, I don't think they'd spend the time to even have that metric of what's the total amount of items you have listed in your store. Paul Rose says, does anybody else find they sell some cool, rare clothes, but themselves wear the same couple of things all the time to work? LOL. I got to tell you, you guys see me, I wear the same things all the time. Beard wears that same Alabama shirt every 2 weeks.
So this Alabama shirt, I didn't realize I was wearing an Alabama shirt today, and I walk up to a yard sale. They've got 2 cards with Alabama plates on it and a couple of Alabama stuff. And I like, are y'all Auburn fans? And they looked right at me. I said, because I can't tell. And she started laughing. She goes, Yeah, like you're an Auburn fan with that shirt on. I forgot that I had an Alabama shirt on. It was pretty funny.
But one thing I gotta admit though, if you're watching the Profit Playbook podcast tomorrow, we're wearing the same shirts. So don't be like, wait, why are they wearing the same things? We recorded the Profit Playbook podcast only a couple hours ago. 601 Roliz 3NP says, you're right about the comfort zone. I'm old and been selling Pyrex. I stumbled into Pokemon, did my research, made mistakes, but having a lot more success. And, we talk about products, getting into new products and maybe taking a risk. Well, I can't really say the same thing about products, but I can tell you about platforms. Whatnot, I should have been doing this a long time ago. Well, I'm sitting on inventory that I probably just have no way of getting moved, like some of the clothing, like the hats that I was sitting on for the last show. And, to know that there's a place I can take them and move them for a couple bucks, get my money back and not buy that again. Now, I know some people who do the whatnots would buy that again because that's their business model. But it's about getting uncomfortable. And I had no idea. And he's still talking about doing it. I don't know if he's going to do the whatnot thing. Are you planning on doing one?
I'm definitely going to do it. I'm trying to buy stuff for it now. Just because it's so hard because I have the other auction that I feed 60 to 70 items a week there. And so I'm starting to get ahead there, which will allow me to do other things, but I'm trying to backfill some items for there so that I can purchase both at the same time.
You find yourself saying, okay, this is not something I would normally sell on eBay or take the time to sell on eBay, but I could probably sell it on Whatnot. Are you
correct? Because you see things that have value to them, and if you buy right, there's always that opportunity. And so I'm like, you know what? I can pick these things up, and they're easy to ship. They're nice items, and so and they would be something people want. So even though that's maybe it's clothing, I bought a lot of shoes today, and I'm not even really a clothing seller, but whenever you're buying the shoes that I bought today, I bought 4 pairs of Brooks for a grand total of $12. One of them has never been worn. And I bought a pair of Nike 270s, never been worn, for $8. So a lot of these things that there's things that's maybe not in your wheelhouse, but you recognize the value, and so the important thing is, can you find an outlet for it? Always be looking. If just because you see something and there's value there, but maybe you don't want to list it, find that outlet. Turn the camera on. There's a lot of go over there and watch Whatnot. There's a lot of people you never see. You just see their hands.
Yeah.
And they do very well because they're very kind and they treat people well and they have great items. And so they build an audience.
And what sold me, because I was still apprehensive an hour before the show, I said, you know what, I'm going to sit here for a good half an hour and I'm going to watch some of these. And I went to a few of the clothing sellers on Whatnot, and I was not impressed. Not at all. I mean, it's like if they can make this work, I can. And you had some lady on there that her back was hurting after 3 auctions, and she tried to get her elderly mom to come and do a couple, and the mom was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and she's like, don't worry about it, I'll get a chair. And it's like, seriously, anybody can do this, guys. And it's not about being in front of a camera. Yeah, you got to show your items because people want to see what they're buying. But if you're having a problem moving some of the items you're selling on eBay, don't be afraid to take your items off of eBay. Maybe your items will sell better on Poshmark. A lot of clothing sellers, and they don't just sell clothing at Poshmark, but that's what they're known for. So if you have clothes, shoes, accessories, get them. There's no reason why you have them on eBay and not on Poshmark. If you have random low ASP things, get them onto Mercari. There's things that won't move for me on eBay that will move on Poshmark. I'm on Mercari. There's other platforms as well, like we talk about Whatnot. By the way, real quick, those of you guys who do cross list over to Poshmark and Mercari, TreeCat starting tomorrow is going to start their billing. They have their billing processor in place finally. And so you will then start accruing a monthly bill for the sales that you make, but it's still free right now. And I say that because I want you to get over there and take a look at it, try it out before you commit to doing anything, because once you try it out, I'm pretty sure you're going to like it. and you can get your items up on those platforms and get your items in front of more people, especially if you're really slow on sales right now. The more opportunities, you're creating more impressions for your listings above and beyond the eBay impressions that you have. Beard, you don't cross post at all, do you? Use pretty much on Amazon and eBay?
Just Bonanza.
Oh, Bonanza.
Because Bonanza, all it is just turn on and let go. There's really nothing to do with Bonanza.
And now you scared me because you said Bonanza, and I don't know if I have any sales. I mean, I don't think I've looked in a week. Normally, I would see an email or something.
I haven't looked either. Should I? I haven't. Should. But no. So I use. So there's a couple ways. So Bonanza's a good one. So here's how you do Bonanza. You're being paid through PayPal. So basically, what I do is I link my PayPal to as one of the methods to pirate ship. So I ship a pirate ship, and so it'll come up and tell you that it's it'll tell you where it came from, and it'll either be eBay or blank, and the blank ones are all Bonanza. And then also I turn notifications on for PayPal so that my phone will notify me that you'll get some strange say so and so paid you on PayPal. I'm like, you get used to it after a couple of go, wait a minute, that's Bonanza.
Biff Boffo says, I niche down for the long haul, accumulating store followers daily and getting better and better within my niche. Yeah, I mean, just the conversations that I've seen you have on this live, Primo's live, Josh's lives, I think you kind of got it down. I think you're on top of, your niche and what you need to do. I think at this point, I don't know how you feel about your own business. I mean, I haven't even seen your store, but based on what I've seen, you're probably getting close to kind of maxing out what you can. I mean, unless you're going to expand your business, but I think you know what you're doing. You have a strong grasp of what you need to do to succeed on the platform. Carla says, we always have to have a plan B and C in case things don't work out as we expected. So my question to you, Beard, is what is your plan B? Let's say, I'm not putting this out in the ether at all to happen. I mean, but it's always good to have a what if scenario in your mind. What if and I don't even know how what transpired with the whole gating issue with Amazon. If you're able to,
so I just woke up and 500 of my listings were gone, just deleted. And then I started putting it back on and I found out that I was restricted in those categories. So I'm just right now in the process of getting redone in those. But if Amazon went away to tomorrow, I could be successful enough on eBay. You would definitely find me on Whatnot. Because I would not be satisfied with the fact that you lose one, I'm not going to go put everything back on one again. So I would bring up another platform for sure.
Yeah, you got to just say and have the conversation with yourself. What if this doesn't work out? What if the things you're putting up on eBay aren't working? Are you going to just quit? I think quitting is the worst option, unless you're put in a position where, look, either you go get another job, you maybe still sell on the side, or you're going to fall way behind on your bills. And, that's no good. You don't want to ever be in that position. But I think sometimes we are just too hesitant to try things that, in my case, Whatnot, I wasted a full year a year and a half, really, of not doing the Whatnot thing until I finally just gave in. And I'm stubborn like that. I just get in my own way sometimes and get set in my ways, or, I'm fine with eBay, but I really think that even just doing it as a practice, so maybe it's not going to be much of a supplemental part of my income, but it's more about getting the basics down so that if I have to gravitate over to a platform like that, I have a full grasp of what's going on. I think that's why it's important to train yourself to learn new things. Linda says, during a search of my items on eBay, I found another seller from Kenya using the photos I took for listing that are active. Contacted eBay and they said, unless I have a copyright on my photos, anyone can use them. Yes, because it's kind of becomes eBay's property when you put it on their site. Anyone can use them. But the thing is, this seller in Kenya is opening themselves up for a severe item not as described, INAD, or some people call them SNADs, significantly not as described, because they're going to sell an item that may not be the one you're selling. I wouldn't lose any sleep over that, not at all. And I know that Archie had a similar thing where he was selling an item. Forgot what it was. I think it was a collector's item, and he was on Google and found his very same set of photos on a Shopify listing that someone took. You know, they may have the same item, they may not. They may be drop shipping his item, and I don't know if that's happening with you. Maybe someone's drop shipping what you're selling, but I wouldn't get worried about it. These are things that eBay, they're not going to step in to resolve. They're not going to protect you. So at the end of the day, just try to get that item sold and be done with it. Have you encountered that before?
Yeah, and it's really not a big deal because most stuff I sell a mixture of used and new, but you know, the new stuff, it's going to look like everybody else's, but the used stuff is the crazy stuff. You'll get pictures stolen that are used, and each one is very different based on how, you know, who's had them. So yeah, and Maya is doing a good job telling you the truth. You can't put watermarks in them because that's against eBay's rules. You can't put anything to the picture. It's just supposed to be the item. And what they mean by copyright is say I own Old Smoky, and there's a copyright on this logo or whatever. If it's your own personal, if you're using a stock photo and on a used item, you can't do that.
I mean, at the rate that you break out those bottles, I mean, you got to have some stock in Old Smoky, right? Gail's with us. Says, hey, all, happy Friday. Thanks for being here, Gail. And yeah, I agree, Maya, you cannot use watermarks. But I'll put a caveat on this. There's been times where at one time, like 3 years ago, I was to the point where I was tired of people not reading my listings. Let's say I had a parts or repair only listing where the item was broken. I distinctly put on here, if you can fix it, great, but this thing doesn't work. Use it for parts or repair only. This is a final sale kind of thing in the listing. 2 different places, item description and the condition description. And I'd get an INAD. Not as described. You sold me an item that's broken. Well, that's why it was so cheap. That's why the condition was parts or repair, and that's why I put it in the listing 2 times. But you didn't read that. So I got tired of that. So when I put my gallery photo, I would put a banner across that would say parts or repair only, right? In a big red banner with white text. And I've seen listings like that to this day where people do that. Those listings I see all the time. I don't see any takedowns. I had no takedowns when I was using them. I just got to the point where I just didn't want to put the extra time in doing it. And that's, to me, no different than having a watermark. A lot of people also will take, let's say a photo of their outfit that they have laid out, and they'll have maybe a piece of paper with their store name on it. That's have you seen that before?
That's also against the rules.
Yeah, but people do it. I mean, maybe against, and I put a video out about this about a year ago saying that there's things that eBay doesn't want you to do that people just do anyway. And I don't think I've ever had a takedown of any sort when I've violated their rules, right? So I'm not saying that you should do it, but something that is allowed in, is it really policed? You can go right now and look for hoverboards, or you can look, I'm not even sure. Can you find anything with ivory right now for sale on eBay? I mean, I'm not seeing it. No.
See, you just got other things you can do. By the time, if you worry about those kind of things, you can only do what you can do is right. And so just continue to do your best listings and your best pictures. If you got to add something to every picture, you've got to think about watermarks and all that crazy mess. You're just losing time that's right. Think about it. If you've got 100 listings that you've got to add in a little bit of time to 100 listings, how much time are you losing that you could be being more efficient on something else? If that's one of the things that just doesn't matter. The picture is, if somebody else has something wrong or they do whatever, I mean.
Yeah. And if you think about it like this, if the goal is to sell your item as quickly as possible and you firmly believe your item is going to sell, well, then what does it matter if someone uses your listing? That item, if you've sold it, that item's long gone. So if someone wants to use your photo, unless even if it's a multi-quantity, let them do what they're going to do. I think sometimes if people put the effort into their own listings to improve their listings rather than to go in and, try to get someone listing taken down for a photo and this, that, taking the effort to try to resolve that situation over here when they should be focused on what's going on right here in front of them. I think we'd all be better for it. I generally don't chase those kind of things down. Linda Boca says, that is crazy. So as a buyer, you are purchasing an item that is misrepresented. Yes, for those people who are using the wrong photo, chances are very high that if there's, let's say, a blemish that you've outlined in your listing that is attached to your photo, that person from Kenya is probably going to say that's a brand new item. They get that item, that buyer gets that item, and they're like, well, what's with these scratches on this unit? And guess what? They're going to be on the hook for shipping back to Kenya or whatever they're drop shipping from. It almost sounds like it might be a drop shipper if they're from,
that's
from
what
Kenya.
it sounds like.
Maya says, well, they have the money back guarantee if anything goes wrong. Yep. Samantha says, good evening, John and Scott, FA viewers. Hi, Jenna, miss you. I'm not sure. She just sent me a text, so she's got to know I'm live.
Yeah, she's way down there. We're way behind. She's way down there. I've seen her.
Maya says, but yeah, once you submit your photos to eBay, you don't own them anymore, right? And generally, Scott, see what Scott does on his live, he kind of just reads the chat as he goes, and he'll kind of speak to some of the questions in real time. You guys know me, we get behind, but I want to involve you guys as much as possible in this conversation, and by doing that, it's reading your questions and comments. Linda, no, you're not competing with your own item. You are competing with everyone else who's selling that same item. You just focus on getting the best title, best price, best item specifics, as many photos as you can, because the listing quality report is looking at the number of photos that you're putting in there. Use your very best photo for your gallery photo, something that's going to catch someone's attention. And don't worry about that person that was too lazy to take their own photos. Chances are they're not working on those other things. Paul Rose says, I have a plan B half together. The ski mask has arrived. Just working on getting the shooter now. That'll never happen for me. Maya says, yeah, I Google items that I'm selling and see my photos on scam sites and used by other eBay sellers all the time. Nothing you can do and nothing you should waste time over. Illinois Picker, I think that's from Illinois, says, hey, John. Hey, Scott. We have Jimmy D. John, update us with your picture experiment with AI backgrounds. Can you tell any difference in sales? I'd like to think that I am seeing a difference in sales. Rather than using a white background, let's say I'm listing a dehumidifier, right? So those aren't very interesting to look at, right? So what I've been doing is I've taken that dehumidifier and I'm putting it on my photo table, and it's just a gray tabletop, dark gray tabletop with a white wall background. Again, there's nothing special about that. I'll take the photo in Photo Room, and I will then take the background out, and it'll let you type in. So I put a dehumidifier in a fancy basement, right? And it'll say, give me 4 different options to choose from. I'll say, give me 4 more until I find one that it looks like it's on the proper scale and it looks really good. And I'll use that as my main photo. And I think there's something to it, because if you're selling an item that has, let's say, a lot of people use stock photos, and it's the same photo you see over and over again, and yours is different, well, guess what? You're going to get someone's attention. And it's all about, how do you stand out from others? So like on Jenna's account, like shoes, I'm putting something on fire in the background because they're looking at shoes going, what's that? Right? Now that photo's got their attention, and there's a chance they might kind of click into it. So
I'm going to use Alabama AI with all the shoes I bought. So tonight, around midnight, I'm going to set a little bonfire in the driveway, and I'm going to take pictures of my shoes in front of the real fire. That's going to be Alabama AI.
But see, you don't have to go through all that with AI. You could tell it to do exactly that, and chances are you're going to find the picture that you like. It's fun. I think doing the AI photos not only helps sales, but I think it's really fun. And I think it's $60 a year for Photo Room. Don't know what they charge a month. I just do it for the year and write it off as a business expense. And I use it every day. And it's not only fun, but I believe it does work.
And you're
No
up. You
device.
say you're up for the month and up. You want to have you one of your better months. So there you go.
14,000, like literally like 50, like $13,950 in sales for the last 31 days. So something's working, right? And I mean, some of these items, as soon as I get them listed, I mean, I'm listing things. I have to go and like ask AI to tell me, what is this? I did this the other day. What does this do? Because, you know, I'm listing things that I don't even know what they are. But I do know one thing, that when I could buy for $1, and these things have sold for, you know, every bit of $100. I'll give you an example. There's a anybody ever hear about a heavy duty differential housing case spreader for Dana 30 to 80 series housings? What the hell is that?
It's Dana's a the rear end of a when you're customizing cars, the Dana rear end. They make rear wheel drive or whatever it is. I think that's what Dana makes.
Yeah, I'm into that for $1. I put it up for 50. My sale knocked it down to 45. That's plus shipping. And so I'll take a 40X flip any day. It hasn't sold yet, but I just listed that last night. So based on the comps, at some point in the next week or two, it'll sell. And will never remember what that is again. I'll probably have to look it up again next time I get it. Biff says, everyone should spend an hour to read all the rules in the platform they sell on. I agree. I agree with that. Generally, I spend a lot of my time on eBay reading the rules, but I guess I should do a little bit better with Poshmark and Mercari, especially being a content creator. It's good to have the information, but we only have so much time in a day, right? So you can just really spread yourself out thin to the point where there's just too much to do. But I hear you on that. No One Design says this is common knowledge and or sense. If you're a business owner of any kind, you need a backup plan or a fallback plan, whatever you want to call it. It is not rocket science. But there's so many people that just wing it. I mean, if you ask them, you know, what is your plan? It's like, I don't have one. You know, this is going to work. I'm going to make it work. But I would like to think for everyone that's reselling can work. But long term, are you even thinking long term? Are you just thinking week to week? Because if you're thinking week to week, I think you're more susceptible to failure than someone who's looking long term. What do you think?
No, 100%. Because that short term picture can cloud your judgment. You can't make proper decisions if you don't have an overall view. You know, it's easy to make the wrong decision, or easy to get off path from where your vision is.
Biff says everyone should spend an hour to read all the rules on the platform they sell on. I just read that. Major Win says, hey, Beard Picker and flipping ain't easy. Hope y'all are having a good one. Well, it's better now that you're here. So thank you for checking in with us. Carla Olson says, I missed it. What is the name of the book? That's The E-Myth Revisited. And what we do generally is we'll fire it up on the Audible app. So the Audible app, it charges like, what is it? Like 12, 13, 14 bucks a month. You get one book download a month. And I mean, if you're like me, haven't read books in months and I still have the account open, I think I have like 6 or 7 credits that I can just go get a book whenever I want, right? And you can download all these books with these credits, and you can, if you want to, you can just stop your subscription from it and catch up on the books that you have until you're ready for more books, and then kind of start it up again, or let your credits accumulate, I guess. But is that how you do it? You use Audible?
Yeah, I use Audible, and most of the time, if you Google it, you can find discounts on it. I think I got the first 3 or 4 months for like $5, and so get you started. And you know, it's just an investment in learning and your business knowledge. I mean, it's $14 is fairly cheap. Most of the books are at 14 or higher, so that I've been reading. So it saves you a little bit of money. You can list them as many times as you want.
Mike Gertis says, got my sale, need 2 more to beat Primo's live. Well, we got some time. We promise it for the next 24 hours, so you may not see it right away. I'm still trying to get mine. My sales are pretty decent. I think we're about 300 today in sales. Again, I think I do a lot of my damage in the evening. People get home from work. So many times, let's see, we're at 226 in sales. So many times we're kind of sitting at that spot, late afternoon and in the evening, it's up to 500. I think my worst day that I've had in the last 2 weeks is a $397 day last Friday. So we're going to keep the momentum going. We're doing really, really well. So part of that, just continue to list. I'm playing tug of war with eBay. I list an item, they sell an item. I list an item, they sell an item. Wake up in the morning, there's 2 items sold. So it's just playing keep up. And again, if you watch the video, I think I put in my members only video a kind of an explanation showing you guys what I sell and why it takes me a little longer to list than the average person. Josh Galt says, we are getting destroyed at hardball, so I thought I'd drop by and say hi while they slam them over the fence. Josh, you got to get in there and coach them up, man. Teach them how to be gold glovers. I remember those days of taking the kids to baseball. Some of our the best moments, just remembering, wishing my son would have pursued it. He was actually pretty good, but as they become teenagers, they'd rather spend time with friends, than to get out there and play baseball. Susan Phelps says, I'm going to be retiring in 2 years, so I started my store and have been selling, getting my inventory together while I still have income coming in. Hope in 2 years I can still be selling. People will be selling on the platform in 2 years. Don't know what it's going to look like. It may not look any different than it looks like right now, except that the players might be different. People are going to be coming and going. And the key is, can you make the changes within your business to stay relevant? So it may seem like to be working right now, or maybe it's not. Maybe you're trying to improve. You got to find what the formula is for you and what you're selling to continue selling online. What is your biggest piece of advice, though, Beard, for someone who is starting up reselling, who wants to replace a 9-to-5 with this, and they're looking to make this work long term?
Treat it as a business right to start. So that means come up with an inventory system, come up with a plan, come up with the, minimum set of equipment you need. It's going to be a computer, a printer. Start thinking in terms of making a business, so you're ahead of the game, so that you will make different. If you think of it as a business, you'll make different decisions, whether if it's just a hobby, because you'll start tracking profits, you'll start doing the things that you need to do and make effective decisions or if you just want it to be a hobby and don't want to replace an income and are just looking to make a few dollars here or there. But I guess that's the biggest thing. Define what you want and then go at it that way. If you just want it to be a hobby, make a few dollars, you can get away with winging it. But if you want it to truly replace an income, start working on building a business and a business mindset so that it's something that you can repeat and move forward and stay with.
Yeah, and here's the good news, Susan. You have 2 years before you finally make that jump. So you can do this on a part-time basis and learn what's going to work, what kind of items aren't going to work, refine what you're doing over that 2-year period. But I think the one thing that I'm starting to accept is that I'm not born with business mindset. I may have run departments where there's 2 things behind me right here. These are awards that I won on a national level for my management skills and the things that I've done, accomplishments, some of the beside my kids and my wife. And these are accomplishments I cherish as some things that I don't know if I'll ever replicate again. But I don't even have, I don't think, enough management skills to really translate that over to reselling. I need to take in more of this content that finally I'm getting around to. It makes sense. Listen to some things, and it's kind of eye-opening when you're listening to some of these ebooks and you're taking bits and pieces of these things that you can incorporate into what you're trying to build. So you're new at this, so it's a learning experience. So what you need to do is take the things that make sense and apply them, and the things that don't, just discard them for now. Maybe they'll be relevant to what you're doing in a year, but right now, just focus on what makes sense to you. And if it works, keep doing it. If it doesn't, change course and be willing to accept that, and don't be stubborn like a lot of folks can get, and keep on the course when that course isn't working. Illinois Picker says it's also very important to remember that sometimes things have to fall by the wayside and simply not get done in a day. There are often days with not enough time to do everything, no matter what. That's the truth on that. How do you feel about your time management skills? They're pretty good. Pretty good, huh? Mike Seller, happy TGIF. John Scott, Flippin' Fam. Yes, delegation is the calm we need in our lives, but at some point, like I'll ask Jenna, like, can you do this? She's doing a lot of the cross listing. She's doing a lot of the things that I don't have time to do. So that's delegated already. To ask her to stop doing that to do this, it's kind of impossible to do. So aside from getting an employee, I think we're kind of maxed out at what we're able to do right now. I mean, to be honest with you, I can manage my time even better, right? And really, you know, when the time I wake up to the time I call it quits for the day, I can really be in there and just boom, 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 boom. And there's times that I know that I need to get stuff done. Let's say we have distractions or friends or families coming over for, you know, to visit. I know I'm not going to be available to the business for a couple of days. I will then put my nose to the grindstone and get that work done. But I could probably take that same level of focus and put it into my everyday if I wanted to kick that into another gear. But I just don't do that. Maybe I should. Biff says that famous fine dining restaurants, diners have the illusion that the chef owner is in the back cooking. 99% of the time, it's not the case. Successful people delegate well. Yeah, and that's something that I started doing better before they shut down the office. You know, when they finally said, "Here's your severance package," and you know, have a nice day. But I'm glad for being a someone that I was in management for 11 years, the last 11 years that I worked there. And I can say that without that experience, it would have been a lot harder to run the business on the eBay side, because I have that experience of you know, the three things: the worker, the manager, the entrepreneur. I'm still trying to figure out the entrepreneur part, but the experience that I have translates pretty well over to the whole manager side of things. Rob something says E-Myth is great, really stresses building systems and processes, basically work smarter, not harder. We have David Pentland from the UK. Flipping ain't easy. Like the story goes, it's same as a breeze, sometimes a breeze, and it's tough at other times. Yeah, I agree with that. We have Tommy Z. John, where's your dinner delivery? Nice, you doing two alive. Thank you. So Beard had his dinner delivery. What did you eat? What did you have for dinner?
Just a couple hot dogs.
Okay. So for me, I'm probably gonna. I grabbed some stuff at Sam's Club the other day, just knowing that this is gonna be me. So I'm gonna grab, you know, probably throw some things in the air fryer after we're done here. Brenda Smith says, "Happy Friday, everyone! Busy time of the year. Baseball wrapping up for the boys. School ending. Some things need to slide. Yeah." School ending, some things need to slide. I agree with that. Rob something says the goal should be to spend more time working on your business rather than working in it. And that would be the goal, right? Plan out your day and then have everything fall into place. But I really think that for me, a nice to have goal would be to expand the business, have one or two employees that take care of the busy work, and then I'm in the back planning, networking, negotiating, and making the whole thing flow, right? But I'm not there yet, and I've got to be realistic about it. I'm not there yet. Is the economic climate there for me to invest in a warehouse and start hiring people? Not knowing, and I think Josh talks about this on the podcast tomorrow, but not really knowing what the return is, right? Having no idea if making those moves is going to yield you more money or if it's going to put you into a hole.
And the economic climate too is where everything's going. There's so much uncertainty right now. With
right.
I mean, it seems to be we're in utter chaos most of the time right now. So I don't see it where it's a time to invest in capital right this second.
Yeah. So I'm holding the course. We're maximizing what we have, and for right now, it's working. Jerry Johnson says, "Sorry, I haven't been on here for over a week. Had a bunch of things going on and needed to get done." Hey, you know what? Your eBay business supersedes anything here on YouTube. So I'm not mad at you at all. Just keep doing what you got to do, and thank you for being a member. Check out the member video when you have a chance. Let it play in the background. That type of thing. Not Funny says, "How do you handle box damage with breakables? I have a sealed box of 12 plates. The box is a decent dent. Plates seem fine. Should I open the sealed box?" What do you think?
I would have to. Yeah, I would have to open it because don't do the work in vain.
I'm wondering though. It sounds like they received it that way. I mean, if you're shipping it out, find a new box. But it sounds like they received it that way. Plates seem fine. Should I open the sealed box? Yes.
Either that or they bought it and they're they're going to sell it that way. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they're new, and you don't want them to say, "Well, it's no longer new because you opened the sealed box," that kind of thing. You are allowed to sell items as open box that are new, even if you're not using the original packaging. That's in eBay's terms, right? Or eBay's the definition under open box. So you can take brand new plates, repackage them in a better box with better padding and cushioning. And as long as they are new, you're going to be good. I think that might be the way to do it. The last thing you want to do is send, the plates seem fine. You're shaking them in the box. You don't hear any pieces. That doesn't mean that something's not cracked. So I would definitely inspect it and consider repacking it better. That's what I would do. Let's see. Paul says, "Today has actually picked up for me after a terrible last 2 weeks. Not great, but heading in the right direction at least." Biff says, "Today is my best day of the month. Just time to put me 3% over last May." We have Samantha Hunter that says, "John, I know you're going to rebuttal me, but let's talk. I don't think it's the reseller so much not doing what is needed to run a business. I'd like to see continue. I believe it's eBay managers, SEOs, and whatnot. What's wrong with eBay creating a feature that warns us we'll get zeroed if we use a word or company that is on the list?" So you touch on some things that I'm not sure related to, I guess, what we're trying to convey here, and that is we cannot control the processes that eBay has in place. What you're saying as far as like the Vero thing, something that I've said on this show for many times, eBay has the AI technology that can stop you right now from listing a certain kind of wood. Or if you try to list ivory in your listing, like let's say you have no idea and you're trying to sell some ivory tusks right on eBay. When you try to end the item, or let's say a firearm, if you're trying to sell a firearm, it'll stop you in your tracks and say, we believe you're trying to sell this kind of item. This is not prohibited. Please, this item is prohibited. Do not list this again. Okay, so they have a list of Vero companies and companies that do not want their items up on eBay. So if those companies have put themselves in the Vero program and are known to take down listings, why not give us that same warning? We see you trying to sell P90X. They do not allow their items to be sold on eBay. Do not list this item again. Rather than allowing you to list P90X, you sell the item, you ship it, and then you get a takedown notice after the fact, right? That's an eBay process problem. These are all things that we talk about on the channel as being distractions or roadblocks in your way of success that you have to know about and you have to navigate around. The bigger discussion that we're having is, despite all the eBay problems, despite all the problems that eBay has that other sites don't, sales are still being made on the platform. It hasn't stopped me from making almost $14,000 this month, despite the problems. It hasn't stopped Beard from making, what, $7,000 this month on eBay, despite all the problems. So that isn't the reason. I mean, if that was the case, then we wouldn't be able to make that kind of money. So we have control over our own destiny on these platforms, despite the things that we're up against. We've got to figure out how to make it work. And eBay is just a little bit more challenging than some of the other sites. But then again, Beard can tell you many stories about challenges he's faced on Amazon that has caused him a lot of headaches, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no perfect platform, and so you know that's why it's up to you. You control what you buy, you control your procedures, you control all these things that we're talking about today, and some of it's in your hands. And I don't think a lot of when when I tell somebody maybe it's what you sell, they immediately get very defensive and go, "But it's not my items." But I'm not specifically talking about your items. Have you paid attention to what you're listing? Have you replaced your good items? It's that kind of stuff. Is the quality of your items the same as they were before? It's a lot more nuances to it that but people get very defensive, and so you almost can't help some people because they're not willing to look and see what they've done wrong, or they might be the problem, part of the
Yeah, over the
problem.
last year, I've had about 10 people reach out to me saying, "Hey, can you look at my store? Give me some info. Give me some things I can do differently." And I spend a good 30 minutes, 45 minutes trying to find that with the limited information that I have. I don't know how much they promote, don't know their account health. And I tell them, here's what I would do, here's what I wouldn't do, here's what I change. And all but one person has ever said, "Hey, thanks for that information. I appreciate it." You never hear back from them again. And chances are they did not like what I had to say. I think a lot of people, they just don't, I guess they don't want to hear the truth. They are deaf to the truth, and they are so adamant about what they're doing as working that even if they get constructive criticism that says, "Hey, this is probably not your best way to make this work," they're going to keep doing it anyway. And I think those are the people that fall within that, 95% over 10 years, that they may not even make it past the first year if they're not willing to. That's why selfishly, having this channel, I've learned so much from you guys out there that have, corrected me or said, "You know what, I think that's probably not the best way to handle this." And it really gets me, thinking. And sometimes I change course, and almost always it's better than the course of action that I was going to take. It's being flexible enough to get out of your own way. Let's see. Maya says eBay isn't really going out of the way to grow their buyer base either. It's a shame they're not. You wonder why that is the case. Paul Rose says John always trying to pay out, but eBay wouldn't let him. So I guess this is Paul Rose's situation about paying. Said I didn't ship to his location, but I did. I have international and everything. It was just a glitch. Luckily, I still got the sale. Yeah, luckily you did on that. Let's see what else we have. We have Big Dre with us. Better quit when no one is around, when hearing noises, when you shouldn't. I'm sure someone is living in one of the storage units inside the climate control building where mine is. That's sad, huh? Biff says, this is morbid to say, but some community members who fall off the radar may also be dealing with sudden major life events. It might not be as simple reselling. Things happen all the time. You're right. Could be that, some might not even be around anymore. We don't know. Sadly, I mean, we kind of we're in this community together. Be nice to know and, wish well for people that maybe are struggling, that they check in. But, I get it. I totally get that things happen in life. And when things happen in life, it's like, catching John's live on Mondays and Fridays. It ain't a priority like it used to be. Biff is promoting his cheapest and oldest, mostly as an experiment. Let us know how that goes. Samantha says, also, what about after 6 months? One negative is removed, but if you don't have any complaints against you, I just put a solid reply in there. I even had a false positive that was left for me, where it was definitely the buyer, if they could probably have done it differently, they would have left me a negative, but they left me a positive with the photo, with the negative connotations in there. But the fact remains that they were looking for a brand new unit. They bought a unit that was labeled and sold as a used unit, and it was sold without the parts they were complaining about. But yet, their positive was allowed to stand. So it just, I don't care. I move on, leave a positive reply, tell people, take a look at the listing. We sold them exactly what they what they had bought from us. Chastity says, just got my sales for the night. Not as good as the $170 sale I had to cancel this morning, but I'll take it. There you go. Like to hear that a lot. I'm still waiting for mine, but to be honest with you, I can't hit the like button in the StreamYard side of things. I have to go into the actual stream. 601 Roliz 3NP says, I'm getting ready to do whatnot. It's a great way to move inventory. I'm learning that. Paul has a lot of listings with very few views, but notice one VHS tape had 350 views. There's literally no logic to that. Hard to say. Maybe they're looking for that in a different format. They saw the title of the video and it caught their attention. Hard to really say. Could be other resellers that are looking at it too. Big Dre says, Scott, what's your opinion on the dark side of Amazon Tucker Carlson episode? Did you see? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I've seen it, and they start to expose the way Amazon. So Amazon used to have a policy till people started complaining and they started getting looked into. If you list it on their site, you can't list it any cheaper anywhere else. And so this manufacturer sells on their own site and wanted to sell it for a little less than was on Amazon because they don't have the Amazon fees and they can fulfill their own stuff, even though they did FBA as well. And he said if the price changed, our sales just plummeted on Amazon. But if they matched, all sales were hunky dory. And even after this is not in there anymore, Amazon still is very punitive. And Amazon's a jealous girlfriend for the most part. And
I had a message from Amazon telling me that the roller skates that I had up for sale, they gave me a notice to change my price because my price was like $5 higher than the buy box, or it was saying that my pricing was wrong. Do you get that every once in a while that your price is too high?
They're very manipulative in price controlling with their high price and low price alerts. I mean, I guess a low price is okay if you made a mistake, but the price, an item is worth what someone will pay for it. It's not worth what Amazon or their computers base it to be. I mean, why are people such babies that, if you buy something for $30, somebody has to go, well, no, you can't pay $31 for it because, God forbid that you desire that item and have the money and will pay $31 for an item. It's
right. And it's like, why, you think eBay's bad, right? But Amazon's right there telling you're pricing it too high. Even though I've had sales, I've sold some skates at that price point. They want me to lower my price. That's like, I haven't acted on it, but I'm sure they penalize you in some way.
If you haven't watched that, I just suggest if you haven't watched that and are really curious about how Amazon operates, it's about a 30-minute listen, but it's a good one.
Maya says, about Bonanza, I looked into it, but on their help page, it looks like you have to pay a fee to set up a booth. Am I misunderstanding it? So you can have your items connected to your eBay store on their platform and without promoting, right? So it's just whatever you sell the item for, you pay a final value fee. You have a booth set up. But if you want sort of like a promoted listings, I think you agree to pay like an additional percentage for the first level. There's different levels for all your items in the store. I think I'm on the first level where I'm promoting it at a very minimal amount. And that is, that's work for me. I mean, we get one sale a month. I guess I don't have to do that. But, the fact is that I'm getting more on a Bonanza sale on the same listing. It's connected to my eBay. And the reason is because with Bonanza, I don't have a markdown sale. I don't have coupons. And they're usually paying full ask on shipping. There is no setting to give the buyer the discounted rates on shipping that I know of. And so I'm usually getting more on the same item when it sells on Bonanza than when I'm selling it on eBay. That's what I've noticed, at least.
Yeah, Bonanza will, if using their automatic pooling from eBay, they'll reduce your price a few percentage points just because of the difference in fees. So you'll end up making the same amount.
Yeah. And I am trying to catch up here in the chat. I'm doing what Beard has accused me of many, many times, is skipping.
You even skipped Jenna's comments.
I'm putting them up on the screen, but I'm trying to, there's some sidebar combos, and I don't think that plays well with the
She said
conversation.
moist in the chat. I want that to be known.
Well, I put it up while you're talking that you have it's Moist Beard that's replacing her today. Silver Hair says 8 years selling on eBay, every year better than the last. Should us old retired geezers even worry with other sites or Amazon? I will always say this: if what you're doing is working, keep the course, but stay the course. But if the day comes where you start seeing, wow, this is not what it used to be, you need to have a plan B for that. I mean, I believe you should.
Todd, you're going to be too old to take cruises shortly anyway. You're not going to need any extra money.
Let's see. Spam Banshee says, Photo Room is awesome. I don't use the AI, but I cannot imagine doing eBay without Photo Room. It's just so much better. Now, the only drawback to it is if I'm doing like 10 photos on Photo Room, I can't set them all at once to do AI. You have to do single photos at a time. But who cares? I only do that for the gallery photo. Once they're in my listing, I'm allowing the coupon and the price and all the information that's stuffed in that listing to sell the item. JRKR says, came in for my sale. And again, Tactical Z is asking for the AI picture app, and that is Photo Room. Photo Room is the one we use. Mike Gertis says, I wonder if I should replace my red background with AI sexy woman modeling my stuff. This is no lie, guys. I think I mentioned this before. When I was selling the military patches, I came across the seller that was selling like a larger replica of a lot of the patches I was selling, like almost like a sign or a shield. And this seller would be in like lingerie and or bikini holding the item, right? And yep. I'm sure that works. I mean, you're doing it because it's getting someone's attention and it's getting into the listing. So you pretty much do what you got to do to make it work. I just think the AI helps. You can find ways to make your item pop. And, while you probably should be using white backgrounds to make Google happy, I'm finding more and more that when I look up an item in Google, I'm not seeing a whole lot of eBay listings in Google Shopping. Maya, has anyone ever had an issue selling airsoft items on eBay? I have an airsoft magazine. I want to list. All of eBay's policy only addresses the guns. I'm not sure if accessories will be taken down. I mean, it's worth a try, but don't be surprised if AI thinks you're selling a gun when you're not. I've seen it before, but look to see if others are selling that. If others are selling that magazine, then go for it. Dudes Boots Sales LLC picked up an MGN Technologies telecorder. Does anyone know if I'd get a Vero for listing it? I can't find any comps anywhere. So you might want to check with, and I'll kind of check on the fly here, but you go to product research into Seller Hub and MGN Technologies telecorder. And I see that over the last 3 years, this item has sold on the 27th of March of last year, sold April of last year. It's sold a handful of times. Looks like it's sold, well, it shows that it's been listed, but sold twice in the last.
It's just a TV and a VHS combo, right?
I think so. So I don't think it's Vero. A lot of times you'll have Veros when it's a newer, they sell new. I don't think this MGN technology, I've never even heard of the brand. It sounds like an older electronics item. And generally the older electronics aren't Veroed from my experience. You got Brett with us. Thanks for being here, Brett. Happy Friday. Nothing but positivity in this house. Hope everything is going well for everyone else. Love the positivity. And so far, so good. I cannot complain. Mike Gertis says, yes, two. One here so far. Awesome. Got 2 sales. Carol's, way to go, Mike. We have Kid Wilson, quit my pizza job, back to full-time eBay sales for a while. Just don't quit the $100,000 jobs for eBay right now. I think you're better off with the benefits and the guaranteed salary right now in this climate than taking on eBay. Susan Phelps says, got all the equipment and inventory system done, got my business policies in place. My, I think you're saying average cost of goods is $35. just putting in savings in my sales. So hopefully, though, if your average cost of goods is $35, you're flipping it for at least 5x. I mean, what in your mind, Beard, do you need to sell an item for if you're into it for $35?
My minimum is gonna be 100, just because that's gonna get you. I don't like going below 50%, but the more I spend, I want that to be a higher number. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be very comfortable with 150
myself, because I know after fees that's going to turn into more of a 4x flip than a 5x flip. So I'm considering the fact that I'm promoting it, and I just, for the kind of investment $35 an item is, I got to know that I'm selling it somewhat quickly, and I need to know that I'm making at least a 4x flip on it to make it worth doing all that and investing so much into the product.
I mean, it so much depends on, how easy is the ship. All these things play into it. It's hard to, if it's a TV or something and you got it and it's very labor intensive, that ups the profit requirement from you.
Yeah.
But if I'm throwing it in a bubble mailer.
Yeah. Well, U.S. Sports Card says, evening all. I took the plunge last weekend and purged my store of 56,000 listings of cards to rebuild from the ground up. It was a freeing experience, building back stronger. There you go. And when you're putting your items back up, you might have that card that maybe, I'd say of the 56,000, maybe 20,000 are kind of questionable. Maybe bundle those instead of listing those individually. And I'm not a card seller, but I'm sure that it translates the same way. If you have a store full of good and questionable items, there's a very good chance that the questionable items are holding back your store's overall sell-through rate, and in turn affecting your account health, which is affecting your item's visibility overall. I'm a firm believer of that.
I am too.
Yeah.
I've done that. I've cut half my store out, and it's made a big difference in my sales.
Spam Banshee says, John loves seeing the behind the scenes in your members video. Yep. Love to show it. I would have shown stuff like that more often, but again, I just think that there's not a big audience for it, except, if you're a member, you might be interested. Juan Garcia says, coupon week continues well. Happy to be participating in the program with eBay. That's that. I think that the 15% coupon that you've been invited to. I'm telling you guys, if you ever get invited to join a program with eBay and it's not costing you money, jump on it. I would certainly do that in a heartbeat if they ever contacted me. Mike Gertis says, I was supposed to do that one, but I never saw a follow-up email. I missed out, it seems. I think it's already started. So let's see. Trying to get to some folks here. We're getting somewhat caught up here. Jovial says, I think Beard should braid the gray in his beard and start a new fashion trend. What do y'all think? Joni? Got to ask Joni, right? Remember that wrestling coach that for the WWF that put like rubber bands in his beard? I don't know the name, but he was like the coach. Oh, he's going to bring Joni in, I think. No?
I can hear somebody over there.
Okay. So you're not braiding your beard. The braided beard picker. Braided bearded picker would be a good name.
The crew's over there scratching at the door. They want in.
Oh, Mike Gertis says, I wasn't on top of it. Unfortunately, next time I will be. You got to be on top of those things. Whenever you get opportunities, got to jump on them. Jeremy Shemesh says, do either of you have experience selling at bin stores? Selling at bin stores? No, not selling. Do you, Beard?
No.
No.
You just buy at bin store. I thought you bought at bin store. How do you sell at a bin store?
Yeah, well, I mean, like Lindy Glenn, she sold at bin stores, and you got to just check out her channel. Check out Lindy Glenn's experience, and if you're looking at selling stuff, maybe starting up your own bin store, that'll kind of give you an inside look at it. But if you're looking at buying from bin stores, now that's a little bit different. That's hit and miss, way hit and miss, and it's going to be hard to find the really big ticket home run items. Not to say you can't, because you see them all the time. But in my town here in Vegas, it's a war zone. When you go in there, you got to be prepared for this contact when you get into the bins and people bumping you and trying to push you aside because they want to look at what you're looking at. It's no holds barred there. Okay, Susan says my sales average 35. She said ACOG, but that would be your ASP, your average sale price is 35. So there you go. So on something like that, what are you into the items for? If you're into the items for 10, hopefully that 35 doesn't include shipping. It's kind of going to hold you back from being able to do markdown sales, coupons, and taking offers. But if you're into it for 5, maybe a couple bucks, now you have the room to do all those things. And SCG Collectibles is saying Captain Lou Albano is what you should be. You should be taking those grays and putting them in like a rubber band. I think that would be a pretty hip style, like Captain Lou Albano.
I'm getting texts that people are concerned you won't be finished by the time I go live.
Oh, it's I'm caught up. Sal Art says I'm happy to for May to be over. Worst month in a while. I got my first 2 negatives in 25 years on eBay in May, but both overturned as they were unfair, still affecting my views and sales. I think that they are. I think negatives only affect your sales, though, on a temporary basis. But if you get too many all accumulating at once, it does affect in some way your account health, which is a factor that I think is really an unknown thing. We kind of guess, but I'm certain that when you receive anything negative that happens to your account, whether it's a defect or a negative feedback, in some way, shape, or form, it's hurting you a little bit. I mean, there's been many times I'd get a negative and like my sales would be not about half of what they normally are for the next couple of days. I don't know if you ever noticed that.
Figure out, did I get a negative? Because I have no sales on eBay today. I've been really solid. I've 1,500 the last 7 days and nothing today. No negatives.
Do you utilize markdown sales?
Nope.
I've noticed that. See, I have mine scheduled out 6 months at a time. I let them run two weeks, ending on a Sunday night, starting up on the Monday morning, and just I keep them running. And if I ever forget, like after 6 months, like, oh crap, forgot to do the next 6 months, I'll notice that my sales will drop off tremendously. And maybe that's something that you could do that could help your sales, is by having like even a small 10% markdown sale, bump it up a little bit price, and then use that markdown sale. I'm a firm believer that when you utilize the tools that eBay puts out for you to use and you put them into place, put them into practice, I am a firm believer that the algorithm rewards you a little bit. Of course, you want to make sure that you're not overpricing your items than to use those markdowns so that you're not within the market for the item. But eBay does these things. They put these tools into place, and if we're not using them, we're not seeing the full benefit. I don't think. That's just my personal.
I don't believe in the eBay rewards you and search for activity. And so many people swear if they, I got to do 5 listings a day or whatever it is. I think it's what I talked about earlier. You're replenishing good inventory that's going out of your store, and so they're not rewarding you on activity. You are maintaining your current sales position in order to say sales velocity. I think it's more of you're not allowing the quality of your account to go down, which means the quality of your inventory as you're constantly replacing, because we have a tendency to list our best stuff first, and so I really think that's just a myth. And I do notice that the more I list, the more I sell, and that's because that I am putting the good stuff, the new stuff. I'm taking time to replenish stuff that's missing, because I've sold a lot in the last few days, and I have not listed in the last couple of days. So I know I need to replenish some of that stuff, but I still have good stuff in my store. But I think it's you evaluate the quality of the items you continue to put in, and the items that are going out, and you'll see that. Chances are I'm right.
Well, I think you're right somewhat in that you want to be constantly adding inventory to your store. You will keep adding the value back into the store. But I got to say that the second account, now, number one, we hadn't had promoted list, like 3/4 of the store wasn't promoted for like a 2-week period. We went down to absolutely nothing in sales. But I fixed that problem. Jenna did end item sell similar before she left on a bunch of the listings. And I think I listed like one item in that store the last couple of days. I'm so focused on my main store and keeping the momentum going. But yet, after we made those changes and only having one item listed, we are back on track on sales. I think we made about $300 in sales the last few days on that account, and with only one item listed, one new item listed. So I really think of course, the promoted listings had a lot to do with that, but it's the activity of ending the stale listings, putting them back, showing the daily activity. And I do think there's other things that are baked in, like how fast do you get back to a buyer. eBay keeps track of that, guys. They may not put it out there like Mercari does and give you a badge for it, but I really do think that all the different KPIs, key performance indicators that eBay has, they're not going to put them out on display for us to know about. I think these are all hidden and baked in. And also, one thing you have to consider is eBay has integrated a lot of things that work for these sites, like the social media aspect of Poshmark to a small degree. But I mean, we're talking about small things. I think adding inventory is a huge thing, but all these smaller things that we don't even think about, I think, are baked in to the algorithm. And I think it's sometimes you notice the effect on your store where someone might not. But I'm a huge believer in, look, this is happening to my second store. There's no reason why I went 2 weeks with only 3 sales, but over the last 3 days, we've made like 5 sales, $300 something.
I just don't understand why they can't do. I would like to see the listeners report, but it's never been available to me. There's so many things that eBay does that's available to some, that's not available to the others. Yeah, that's my problem with Amazon, and eBay has it to a certain extent. Is we're all held to the same set of rules, but the same rules are not applied to everyone, and it's very frustrating when especially when you're out and about and you're looking up things and you go, there's sales on this item, and so it doesn't cross your mind that it could be a banned item or these kind of things, and eBay and their souls will leave us sold up, say CPAP stuff. This clearly against the rules, and you're not helping people. You're not, and Amazon's the same way. Why do I get blasted off all these listings when they leave all the rest of these sellers on? And the rules are not the same for everyone, and I don't see how they get away with that, because you can't hold me to a standard that you don't hold everybody else to.
Right. And then when you ask them about it, they're like, well, we can't control that. I mean, if someone else is selling the item, then we're dealing with you right now. That's kind of their mentality about it, right? But you have hundreds of other listings. Like when I was selling those little toy hover soccer balls, they took it down saying that I was trying to sell a hoverboard. Well, not only is it not a hoverboard, you've got like dozens of hoverboards right now for sale on eBay, and you're doing nothing about it. I'm even telling you about it. As a eBay rep, you could go and search for hoverboard and take down all these listings. If that's a problem, if you're really concerned about what do they call it, health and not health and safety, but trust and safety. That's a department they have at eBay. If you're truly concerned about that, then why aren't you proactively taking these things down instead of taking down listings that don't even relate to what you're trying to take down, if that makes sense?
Yeah, you could do a simple search to find. This is not difficult. You can do a simple search and find these things. Search hoverboard, search these things. They show up. They show up very quickly for sale on your site. And with it's another good one is they don't follow the rules with listings. You'll find all these video game sellers that'll have one listing with hundreds of video games on it. That's against the rules.
I've done that. But again, that's another thing that I've spoken about, where eBay says you can't do, but people do it anyway. So are you going to sit back on the sideline and watch people get an advantage by breaking the rules, or are you going to join them?
But not only do they allow it, they reward these people because that listing is way up in search because it's got a lot of sales on that listing.
That's right.
I mean, that's the frustrating part is, with a set of rules, not only are some not held accountable, others are rewarded for breaking the rules, which is mind-blowing or frustrating.
That's why I take the attitude it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. And eBay will possibly take down that type of listing and tell you, since you didn't know, we're going to give you a warning. Fine. I've made my sales up to this point and I won't do it again. But guess what? I'm going to play the game. It's part of playing the game. And some people won't play that game that way because they want to stay within the rules. And I respect that. But for me, I can tell you that there are things that I'm going to do that maybe go against what eBay is wanting you to do, but they still allow it to happen. And if they're going to allow my competitors to do things like that, then better believe I'm going to get in and be competitive with my competition.
On Amazon, you better follow the rules because they don't say, hey, you might not have known about that. If we took that down, don't do that again. Amazon spins your account and goes, convince us to let you sell on here again.
Yeah, and they make you give them an action plan.
Yep.
You got to write up an essay on how to sell better on Amazon. Where of course,
and if you don't hit their little keywords and their point of view to whatever their checklist is, they fail it and fail it and fail it until you get it right. Until you fall on your sword and say, oh dear Lord, please, gods of Amazon, please, I beg your mercy and forgiveness for me being so stupid for I've done this. This is what I'm gonna do, never to do it again. Oh, please let me sell again.
Right.
There's your action plan, Summer.
So Maya saying about the markdown sales, I saw dealing with Dalton store category markdown sale video and I tried it myself and it really helped my sales. Took about an hour to set up because I had to sort my current items into markdown categories, but it should be easy going forward. Yeah. Just an example of where you can take bits and pieces of what people put out there in content and put it to play. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but you never know until you do. So that's something, Beard, I would say, give it a try. See if it helps your sales in any way, shape, or form. Sal says, yeah, I was hoping since they got overturned, I wouldn't be affected as much but I sure do wonder. Thanks. Yeah, negatives do, I think, temporarily hurt your account. Joby says, dang, Beard evaded the question twice. Guess that's a no. Thought it would look super cool with the band, braiding your beard. I think what may have happened is maybe he's tried it and he's had a bad experience that he doesn't want to talk about. And therefore, he's not going to answer your question about braiding his beard. Maybe he had too many shots and tried it one night. Lenny K. Tommy B said, as Tommy Bernard said about 6 months ago, about putting on sales daily. I've been doing that with luck. Yeah, I do know that eBay did come out at one point and talk about markdown sales, saying that it is optimal to do a markdown sale every 2 weeks. That's the most optimal. So that's the model that I followed. I think.
And Mike's got a good point, with
I quit the listing. What was that?
It's the next one. I didn't understand what Northeast Mountain meant by that.
Yeah. Mike Gerda says, and on top of that, it's fake video games from China sellers. Yeah. So yeah, gotta be careful about the China sellers. But I think, and we have Kent says I have won some train awards myself. Kent. Anyway, I think that's where we're ended here. We are hour and 48 minutes in. Beard, I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. Certainly did add to the conversation some perspectives that I certainly don't have. And I think what we're going to do, I think you're going to continue, and I'll jump on and join you at some point. But you're going to continue the conversation. We still got to finish that off.
I'm going to get some ice for this.
Yeah, jump over to Nicker's channel in about 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
And we'll keep this conversation going on some level. So want to thank you guys for being here. Thanks again to the members who are signed up, and check out the bonus video I put out for you guys the other day, and comment. Let me know that you watched it and let me know what you think. But this is a business that I think most of us want to work for the long haul. We see this. We see the benefits of reselling. We see the freedom that reselling gives us. But you got to have a plan to keep it going, because the moment you hit that wall where sales aren't happening, your bills and other expenses tend to override what you feel like you want, and you're going to have to go back to work. And for some of us, we'll be watching this video or these lives in the next year. You'll be back to work, and I hate that thought, but you have more control over it than you think. But figuring all that out is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent weekend. We'll see you on Monday's live, and we will talk to you guys very soon. Take care, everybody.